All right, we've got Curtis Francois, the CEO and owner of Worldwide Technology Raceway Gateway, Madison, Illinois, home of one of the newest stops on the Cup Series schedule. Still got an IndyCar race too, a lot of events on the schedule this year, so we have a lot of ground to cover. But first and foremost, thank you so much for joining me today and giving me a chance to preview, your entire season, because there is a lot going on. Before I get into a question, though, I got to tell you a story, and I think the story is the perfect segue to go into everything that you guys have going on. I was at the first Cup race last year, and I'd been to the facility a couple of times for IndyCar, and to me, it's always a different show when it's Cup, right? I love IndyCar and I love what they bring to the table, but the Cup Series is still the show in North America. And uh, a little bit of context: I was covering USAC Indiana Midget Week that week, and so I'd been driving all across Indiana and Illinois, and I forget which track it was that I was coming back from on that Saturday night, but I rolled into the track on race day morning pretty late. It was almost afternoon, and it brought me right back to my childhood, going to races with my dad at Talladega and Atlanta, and the crowd, and seeing the midway, and some of the things that you guys had unveiled for that Cup weekend. It took me a long time to get in, and some of that was kind of my own unfamiliarity with where to go to get credentials. But I also think that was a testament to the crowd that we saw once we took the green flag, and just a lot of the excitement and interest in having a Cup show there after having the Truck Series there and K&N Series. So I guess the first question I have, having set up that scene of how much interest and enthusiasm there was, I also went to the first race at Kentucky, and that was a logistical hurdle for SMI to overcome. So what did you learn from that first year? And the hardest thing to do, I feel like, in race promotion after you have a successful first event, is to do it twice. So how can you do it twice and do it better?
Well, Matt, hey, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I always happy to talk about Worldwide Technology Raceway and our goal, to create one of the premier racing venues in the nation. We always have a lot happening, and now as we approach 3 months before our second NASCAR Cup race, there's lots of fun news to share. And great question. That it was. There was a lot of learnings in a first Cup race. Any first time event, period, there's a lot of learnings. You're building that playbook while you're in the middle of the event. And so what we did in the first year was to make sure that we had a lot of redundancy in place. We had a lot of over planning in place. We had a lot of additional capacity, just so if everyone showed up like was anticipated, that we would be able to handle it. And we started months out working with all of let's talk about the traffic coming in. That fact that we got everyone in before the race and everybody was seated 20-30 minutes before the race was really the result of a coming together of, practically speaking, anyone that has to do with traffic in the metro area, and that was our Department of Transportation, obviously our Highway Patrol, all the local municipalities and the county, all coming together in what we would have is traffic summits, making sure that when people showed up for the first time to Worldwide Technology Raceway, they knew that we were on it, and that we were doing everything that we could to make sure that it was a pleasant experience as you came into the racetrack. Naturally, when you have 50,000 people coming in for the first time, there's a learning curve to it, but it wasn't because of capacity. It was about understanding the venue, and that was just thrilling to see it all come together and people learn what we've been doing and working on, and then seeing it all kind of working. So we certainly appreciated those learnings, and I think as you move into 2023. We immediately went to checking in with our fans through surveys, checking in with all of the other opportunities we have for information, whether it be from IDOT or from your Highway Patrol, and saying, hey guys, unvarnished. We want to know what we did well, what we can do better, and we went right to work at making those changes. So honestly, most of those changes, if not all, have already been implemented, and most of those were done last year, knowing that we wanted to check all the boxes for this year. So, I think if I look at what our biggest learnings were just to overplan and be ready and make sure that we have this collaboration between all of the invested parties here, and making sure that we're providing good communication to everyone as well, not only the fans, but all of our partners that are pulling the event off. And I think leaning into 2023, we're going to go right back to that plan and making sure that everyone knows what to expect and is on cue for, I think, what'll be another great year here.
What I've learned in kind of coming to the facility over the past, really since you've acquired the property, is there's been constant growth, and that property, there's always a lot of construction going on, and the traffic patterns have changed, the amenities. So you guys clearly have a long-term plan, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. But going into the second race from a hospitality and an activation standpoint, what can fans look forward to, not only for the Cup race, but really all year in terms of new additions?
Well, there's, the fan experience continues to evolve as we continue to make this multi-million-dollar investment. And in particular, for the infield fan zone with the up close garage access that'll be ready in time for the 2023 NASCAR Cup race on June 4th. We have reimagined our garages. We have added significantly more capacity in the garage area. And now we will be able to offer a fan experience. Now it'll have I'll have our own take on it, like so many things that we do, but fans are going to be able to get up close in the garage, have garage access, and be right there with some of the other activities that go on through the day. So you're going to be there in the garages with the drivers, with the cars, with the crew members as they're working on the race cars, and that'll be a first time experience for anybody at the racetrack. We can't wait for fans to see that happen. It's going to be a great new addition. And then kind of going on to a couple of other things, going right back to what I talked about earlier, which is making sure that we survey the fans immediately. And so we listened and making sure that we're doubling the amount of concession sales points all over the racetrack. That'll be a huge upgraded concession experience, and a lot more points of sale. We'll have more hospitality and suites. We've got a whole new row of suites that are going in turn 4, which will be a neat addition and a great viewing point for the racetrack. You can see the entire racetrack. Been working hard on adding additional campsites and amenities to accommodate more than 600 campers in the infield and areas directly adjacent to the raceway, just making that experience easier for all the campers as we lean into that. Matt, you're going to see an additional Wi-Fi and cellular infrastructure enhancement. We worked hard on that last year, but that was just part of a multi-million-dollar connectivity project that's been going on last year, this year, and for the next 2 years. We recognize that connectivity during the race weekend is a priority now, and for everyone, whether it's the drivers and the teams, media, obviously the fans. There is a lot of interest in ongoing engagement while watching on-track competition. So, and I think another big one, just to mention, is our Confluence Music Festival. That was just huge. We're doubling down on that again this year. There'll be live music from award-winning local, regional, and global artists that just makes that festive atmosphere come together. So that's just a few of the highlights. Lots going on to make sure that when fans come back, they know we've been working in the off season.
The one that you didn't mention, that's one of the ones that I'm most excited about, just because he's a friend. This is the obligatory Kenny Wallace question. And I think, Herm is obviously such a great ambassador for motorsports across the board, not only NASCAR. And, going back to my childhood in racing and some of the things that I remember the pre-race TV show, right? The trackside, the race day, and Kenny has made it such a big passion project of his to kind of bring that race day morning experience back, and you guys are going to be a part of that. Announced today, Bristol is going to be a part of that. But I think for you guys, it's even more special because, you know, Kenny, this is home. He is a native son of St. Louis, right across the street from Madison, and he personifies, his family personifies the greater Gateway area motorsports scene. So how exciting is it for you guys to be able to do this with him again, and to have this sort of pre-race environment, and to have that sort of scene in the infield or in the midway, to kind of tap into a little bit of nostalgia, but also for a new generation?
Well, you're just not going to find a better ambassador for the sport of NASCAR, a better ambassador for the St. Louis region than Kenny Wallace. He's a big personality. We love him, and the fact that he is agreed again to work with us at our Raceway Race Day Live programming, it's just thrilling because, you know, that had been gone for a long time, and Chris Blair came up with the idea that we needed to take a page out of the past that brought a lot of energy. And so that page out of the past, coupled with the energy that comes from our friend Kenny Wallace, was just spectacular. You know, with thousands of people watching that programming happening. And it was just great. It was a great show. It was great to bring energy. It was great for the Midway, and such a win-win, and just so just so proud that we were able to kind of pioneer that again. And I think another part, you know, you can't talk about Kenny without talking about dirt racing. So kind of while I'm there, I mean, you're going to see us promote again a race at Tri-City Speedway. So once again, we're partnering with Tri-City to host the World of Outlaws Late Model Series and the MOA Sprint Car Series on Friday night, as well as USAC and NASCAR Quarter Midget events. So it's going to be just another great way to bring a variety of fans out and enjoy all things racing. You know, as you know, Matt, I'm a motorsports fan through and through. It doesn't matter if it's anything from drag racing to dirt racing, asphalt, short, long. I mean, the IndyCar. It's all there. I love it all. And I'm just fortunate enough to be the guy that gets to shepherd this racetrack that does, practically speaking, just about all of it. We're thrilled to be promoting that race again on Friday night. And, I'm sure Kenny will be there too.
That's a good segue for IndyCar as well. Oval racing is so important to the heritage of that discipline, right? I mean, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is IndyCar racing, and it's become a challenge, I guess, to promote IndyCar races on ovals. You don't have the kind of you don't have a natural festival style atmosphere or the grounds. It's just different, right? It's a different kind of promotional situation than the road courses or the street courses are. The race product, that can be a track position race. And so I think IndyCar has done a really interesting thing this year. They're bringing the option tire that I think really has the potential to revolutionize oval flat track racing. I find that to be a very fascinating thing, but just purely from a marketing and promotional standpoint, how important is it for you guys to continue to share that link to oval racing for the IndyCar community?
Well, Worldwide Technology Raceway, built itself on several building blocks under my ownership. And one of the big ones has been IndyCar. I can tell you that without the successful IndyCar events that we've hosted, we probably would not be seeing Cup racing here. When we put the crowds in the stands like we did, it showed that there was something different going on in the St. Louis market. And I think it certainly was one of those validators that our track was worth taking a look at. As the only venue in the country, hosting the premier series from each of the preeminent racing organizations, NHRA, IndyCar, and NASCAR, the Raceway is just a vital economic engine for the St. Louis metro area. And I can tell you that IndyCar is a huge part of that. Our partnership with the Bommarito Automotive Group is second to none. And because of all of us kind of coming together, we've developed something that's special on our IndyCar oval. And now, as we're seeing over the years here, we have some great data, and we're starting to see, the number of passes over the years just continues to increase. The racing action continues to get stronger. Last year, we saw, the guys go out and practice and start running a second line. And when it came race time, guess what? We're racing 2 race lines. It was fabulous. Those are the type of innovations that we just love to see and be a part of. And then for 2023, as we come back to last weekend of August, we're going to be trying something a little bit different. We wanted to make sure that we worked with our naming rights sponsor, which is John Bomarito from Bomarito Automotive Group. He wanted some more television exposure. We let the folks in Indy know that, and we came up with a way that on Sunday we'll be racing on network television on NBC. That type of being nimble in the sport is so valuable as we try to keep the best sponsors engaged and involved. So that gives us another opportunity to do some things that we wouldn't normally have done. We're going to be doing a concert on Sunday afternoon on the infield. That's going to be exciting. And I think you'll just see a redoubling of our efforts to make sure that it's an exciting event for everybody that comes out. We've had great success with it in the past.
Last question I got for you is kind of a very broad one, but I think I know the answer you'll have too, is that when I was at the Daytona 500, and it really wasn't just Daytona, it was the pavement racing at New Smyrna, World of Outlaws at Volusia, I kind of ran the gamut. And between, COVID, between some economical challenges, we had a rough couple of years in motorsports, right? We had to pivot in a lot of ways that I don't think the entire industry had a playbook for. So we were all kind of trying to figure it out together, even like on the media side, right? Being able to get to races and covering races remotely or not in the infield. Point being, it was kind of a tough time. But going to Daytona, New Smyrna, and Volusia, I have felt a enthusiasm inside the garage that I haven't felt in a long time, but I also felt an enthusiasm from fans that I haven't felt in a long time. It really does seem like, and I'm a straight shooter, so I'm not saying this because I feel like you have to be positive. I'm saying this because I believe it. I think motorsports is kind of on an upward trajectory right now after a couple of years of trying to reestablish itself in this new kind of landscape we're in. From a promotional standpoint, are you sensing some of the things that you want to see on the business end that suggest that there is increased enthusiasm and interest, not only in NASCAR, IndyCar, NHRA, short track racing, motorsports on the whole?
Yeah, I think as tough as the pandemic was on our sport, it forced all of us to innovate and to adapt. And a lot of those things carried forward into where we're at now. As we're reemerging, I just could not agree more that there is momentum. There's a sense of excitement that you can feel when you're at the racetracks. We're seeing more corporate engagement than we have in the past. People exciting and understanding again the value of this unbelievable motorsports fan that is so loyal. And so I think, looking to 2023 and beyond, we're bullish on the motorsports industry. There's a lot of interest coming in from other guys around the country wanting to host different races with the series and having our meetings through the winter with all of the sanctioning bodies. There is a good feeling that that we're pointed in the right direction, that we have these building blocks in place to really harness this opportunity. And I think all of us that are in the racing industry at the level that we are ready and willing to take on the challenge and feeling pretty good about 2023 and beyond.
With that in mind, sorry, some technological issues here. I was trying to pull up the dates for each of your races. I was going to do a smooth segue. This is a less smooth segue, but I'm sure off the top of your heads, what are your dates? Where can people come see you this season? And kind of give us the gamut of what you can go experience at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Yeah, well, the big ones, June 4th is Cup on Sunday. And then our Indy car is easy. It's the last weekend of August, and NHRA is the last weekend of September. So those are the easy big dates for the big ones. But so much more going on at the racetrack, as you're aware. I think we have about 320 event days on the calendar for 2023 already. And so there's always something happening here. We're thrilled to have the Trans Am Series coming in September. That'll be a new first for us, and just to validate our new 2-mile version of our road course, as well as, another big weekend is going to be Formula Drift. And there's just so much going on. But check out the website, is always going to be the best, because we'd be here all afternoon if I told you about all 320 events. But appreciate you asking the questions, and it's going to be a fun season, I think.
Curtis Francois, CEO, owner of Gateway. I still say Gateway, man. That's a dollar in the jar, right? Worldwide Technology Raceway, Gateway, Madison, Illinois. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you this summer.
Great to be with you, Matt.